All right, we're back for our new show. Okay, Damage Blue, as a black entrepreneur out here, one of the people that I've had a lot of respect for is Master P. Now, I grew up in
Yes.
Stockton. I grew up in Stockton, California, and Master P was one of the few people early on. Him and E40, there were a few Bay Area rappers who now are icons in hip hop music that were in the hood selling mixtapes out with the people, making sure that we got the music first. Percy Miller is somebody I knew ever since I was a teenager, and so I talked to him recently about that hustle and that journey and how he got there. And it was really interesting to be able to see the mind of a mogul that now is selling chips and water.
I mean, when Master P was coming up, he had a cell phone service, he had car dealerships, he owned projects. Master P was always bigger than the music. That's one thing I loved about him. And a lot of moves we see with artists today, they're thinking they're doing something and they are, salute to them, but Master P always had his own sneaker. So like Percy Miller really is an icon, not just in music, but just in hip hop culture in general, when you talk about being an entrepreneur.
And you know what's so crazy? You would never think this, but as a little girl growing up in Boston, Master P was the first time I ever heard about an artist needing to own their masters. I had never heard of such a thing. And he taught a lot of young people who are now business people about how important it is to own. Ownership was a big thing for him that is now a big thing for everybody else. But before social media, he was always talking about ownership. And out of all the people that I've ever interviewed, Little Romeo is probably the most chivalrous, well mannered, like amazing person that I've ever spoken to as a celebrity. And I think about how he was raised. And so for me, Master P was not just a great businessman, I think he's a great father. If his son is
Yeah.
any indication, I think he was a great father as well as a businessman.
Well, one of the biggest things I've always had in terms of admiring him is that, whether you're an artist or an actor or you're an athlete or whatever, how you build your brand, how you build your legacy is all dependent on every strategic move that you make. And ever since I knew him as an artist and then went back and watched him with, I got the hookup and iconic hood tapes, as we used to call it, we used to watch, I've seen him evolving as an artist and entrepreneur and then sitting back watching him make hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars and be able to put so many people of color on, and his family and friends. I've always wanted to pick his brain. And I saw him not too long ago at the Revolt Summit, and he was on stage and I wasn't able to get to him. And I've never met him in person until this interview. But being able to ask him about that. And as you said, Blue, his son, Romeo, who he has raised to be a really respectable young man who hasn't found himself in a lot of drama, who's also on Foxhole, our media partners platform. Master P undoubtedly is one of those people that I don't think gets enough credit for being a brilliant businessman. He is brilliant. And I also wanted to find out what he thought about Kim Kardashian inserting herself in the whole C murder incarceration and wanted to get him out because he had a lot to say on social media. And I don't know that he's done an interview to talk about it until today. So everybody, welcome Master P. And I'm excited this show. I've been waiting for this for a long time because I'm from Stockton, California, and it's a lot of people that has come up in the rap game and then took over the whole world of business, and none other than Master P. Master P, listen, I'm from Stockton, California. I
Yeah.
remember when you were hustling mixtapes way back in the like early 90s.
Yeah.
And that was even before the E40 hustle when they were selling the mixtapes. And I mean, to see what you've done in business has been phenomenal, but it's so good to finally meet you.
Now it's a pleasure. Shout out to the Bay Area, Richmond, Oakland, San Francisco, Stockton. Man, salute.
Yeah, so now when you're originally from Louisiana though, right?
I'm originally from New Orleans and I moved to Richmond, California.
So when you moved there, what did you move for? Was it just you relocated?
Yeah, I just needed to get away, man. I needed to get away, and I jumped in my truck and just headed and stopped in Richmond and checked out Jones and Harris. Seen that was a gospel record store, and people was lined up around the corner. And I said, "That's the business I wanted to get into, and I wanted to do it in hip hop and R&B."
But you weren't but at the time you weren't even an artist then when you saw that and decided
No,
that's what you
no, I
weren't?
wasn't an artist. No Limit started as a retail store.
Wow. And so then you saw that and then decided that's what I'm going to do. And then not only did it, but then at that time, then your business mind must have been on the longevity of what you plan to do with it because you've turned that into film, you've turned that into
Yeah,
products, you've turned that into all types of stuff.
yeah. No, I mean it's just a blessing. God is good. I was able to keep growing, keep getting better,
and understanding business and learning it, like from the failures. People think that everything just started out great, but it didn't. It was the failures, everything that I went through, that got me to where I'm at today. And like I said, it's no limit from there, because if you got a chance to get up in the morning, you blessed. A lot of people didn't.
So when you came up with the name No Limit, did that come from the mentality of having no limits?
Yeah, my grandfather was big into the military. He fought in the Vietnam War, and everything was camouflage. And no limit come from just having that sense of thinking outside the box, not being afraid to be disruptive, not being afraid to go for your dreams and your goals. And that's just the mentality I grew up with. I grew up around military family.
Mm. So when you decided to do rap, now there's a lot of people watching. I come across a lot of young artists who, they have the dreams and aspirations that you had, but they don't have the hustle that you had. And I always tell them, like, talent is 50% of it, but that hustle mentality and that ability to build relationships is really what's going to make that talent flourish.
But
Um,
really, talent is 10%. 90% is the business. You got to get out there. It's marketing, all the other things. Is 10% is your talent. People don't realize that you could be one of the most talented people in the world, but the business part is what's going to get you to the next level. And that's what got me to the next level. Saying that I know that I'm talented. I know that I might have a hit song or something, but to turn that into a hit record, that's the difference. Somebody got to get out there and work that project. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're just going to be an average artist. There's a lot of great artists that never made it.
Well, who taught you the business though? Because I don't know that there were people before you that were as vocal today in business as you are for this generation.
Yeah, well, I learned from failure. I learned from getting out there, trying. Don't be afraid. Be consistent. Every time they told me no, I'll go through the window or come through the chimney. I'm not sitting around waiting. I got to go out there and create opportunity. And I just got better and better. I learned from this book called "Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun?" A guy named Reginald Lewis that just went out and created a multi-billion-dollar business in the 1970s. And I'm saying, if he could do that back then I should be able to do what I need to do.
Mm. And so why do you think this generation misses that drive or that determination to figure out another route if the one that they've started isn't working?
Yeah, because we was taught to only think one way. Like if you're a basketball player, just be a basketball player. If you're a rapper, just be a rapper. I was always taught that you need a diversity, especially that we're behind. If you look at the past, we always blame our past, but I'm like, look for the future. We can't change the past, but we can change the future. And so I've always got into product, even though No Limit Records, we started out in the product game as a retail store, and then I got into the music industry. So I'm always thinking product. You get the noodles, the icon chips, the LA Great Water, which is living authentically, gets you really excited about today. And I just think that product outweighs talent. People got to stop thinking about, well, I only could do one thing, because when that one thing is over and that will dries up, then what you gonna do? People still in the music industry still living off of what they did 25 years ago. I see people online. I see people telling stories about what happened 25 years ago. But what do that do for you today and your family? And that's why you got to think outside the box. All those stories that happened 25 years ago, none of that stuff is feeding my family. None of that stuff is changing. It's all about growing. So anybody watching this, not forget about the past, but leave the past where it is and always acknowledge that, but don't live in the past.
Mm.
If you're going to be able to be successful, time changes, technology changes every day. It's all about education. I just educated myself to my business, and I studied a lot. I'm a student of the game. I'm constantly looking at other people's mistakes. I'm looking at other people's success, and I'm following the success, and I'm not looking at the mistakes. And then when I got into the music business, I also got into the film business. I say, well, if I could make music, then I should be able to make films. And that's what I've been doing at the same time, saying, let me open up every avenue of revenue that I can.
Let me tell you something. I got the hookup. It's literally one of the most iconic DVDs. I remember it was on DVD when we were buying the DVDs. I mean, I got the hookup with something that was one of those culturally iconic moments that you provided to us. And so I want to thank you for that. But the thing when you're holding up your products, it was interesting because when COVID happened, a lot of
Yeah,
artists were scrambling trying to figure out how to
yeah,
pay these bills. And I was
yeah,
talking to the BMIs and the ASCAPs, and people were trying to get advance money. But if you have products, that's that in your sleep money that no matter what happens, if you can't perform, you're still going to get a bag because all of your stuff is still moving.
yeah. And the great thing for me, I'm working for my kids now. Like I'm marketing, doing what I need to do. My kids are the boss. We're talking about building generational wealth. Romeo is a boss, being able to pass this down, and I don't even have to work. I'm really retired. I'm just sitting back chilling, but it's all about my kids. And when you talk about I got the hookup, man, I gotta mention AJ Johnson, man. R.I.P. to AJ Johnson. I mean, this guy was so talented. Me and him co-starred in that movie. I got the hookup, and I'm just praying for his family. I see what his family is going through. I never met his family or his wife. I don't think so, but I had a great relationship with him. So whatever those guys need, they need me to help pay for the funeral. I will do it. Whatever else, this was a real friend of mine. Even though he went through his ups and downs, this guy was just he was a legend. We talk about African American comedy, being able to be a hood hero and going from the hood to Hollywood and doing something extraordinary. I just think that we have to be able to give people their flowers while they're here. And I just thank the people that gave me this. If somebody special gave me these roses, I keep them on my desk in my office. And we just lost so many great talents, man. Whether it's alcohol abuse, drug abuse, uh, and I'm praying for some kind of way that we get together and figure out how to mend this hardship that we're going through with all this talent that we have been losing throughout the years. And I'm dealing with it even in my family, with family members and friends. I think people in Hollywood are afraid to talk about the truth, but if we're gonna save the next generation, we got to start talking about this, man. And we got to start talking about this with our families and figuring out some type of union or some type of way to help us and get through these struggling times. I mean, I know this dark time, especially with COVID, and from Michael K. Williams to the comedians that we lost earlier last month. We just got to figure this out. Even the rappers, man, the rappers are dying so young now, that 19, 20, 21 years old. And we don't want to talk about the truth, but the truth really is drug related. And we have to change that.
Well, so you just said a lot. So the one thing that when I was excited when they said Master P was coming on the show, I said, "Listen, I'm listening to you. I before I started Hollywood Unlocked, I heard you were one of the first people talking about tech and media, and because we only had the world stars and this and that. But I remember you were starting a platform. But when I
Yeah,
hear you talk, I pay attention to you. I saw you at the Revolt Summit. You were on stage talking about business, talking
yeah.
about ownership, talking about entrepreneurship. Why is it that you think the noise of all the drama online drowns out the game that you literally have been giving people of our community for years?
Yeah, well, people don't want to hear the truth, and people don't want to hear positive messages and words, and it's reality. We're about saving our culture. It's gonna have to start with being truthful, giving them game, giving them education, giving them not the ones that want to listen, because a lot of people have been listening. I mean, you started your business. I know a lot of other great people that are successful that said, "Pete, man, thank you." Even though a lot of people don't get it, but I got it. Look at the business, look at the wealth, look at the empires I was able to create. My whole thing is getting us out of the poverty stage into creating empires and also building economic empowerment. And that's the only way we're going to be able to get through. Just like you said, during COVID-19 and the pandemic, I mean, a lot of people has fell off because they're in a panic mode. They're in a desperate stage. We can go out of this with education. Everybody want to get into it for the money. Everybody said they want to be successful. They want to make some money. No, you have to educate yourself. It's a lack of knowledge, and it's also a lack of ideas. And so I want to push our culture now. People saying, let's go after these ideas. Let's create wealth. Let's create these opportunities that Hollywood are not giving us. So even when you look at Black Panther, a movie like Black Panther, for us to get to that level, we're gonna have to start making these small movies like we're doing now. Where I got the hook up with also with Unknown, the movie that we just finished up that'll be coming out October 1st everywhere. But we got to start, and we have to start trusting the process and buying into what we are producing and making until we grow to that level. That's what I mean by trust the process. That we got to grow to one of those big type of movies, but we have to control it and own it so we can put money back into the community and the culture. And my thing is, I've been giving our culture the blueprint for a while, and the ones that are listening, they're successful. I tell people all the time, if you follow me in my music career, right? Why not follow me? I'm on a path to building a generational wealth. We're creating products. We are creating other opportunities for our people and our culture. And all our brands are the more we make, the more we give. We want to give back to help educate the next generation and help feed the elderly. I think that's those things are important to me. I'm passionate about giving our people the game. And maybe I just got to start charging our people. That's what it is. So they charge me when somebody charge you for something, you hold on to. Michael Jackson attorney charged me $25,000 in the '90s. That's how I started No Limit Records. And what I did was I was looking for a deal to say, what's the biggest deal like Michael Jackson got a better? And the attorney said it's gonna cost you $25,000 to come sit down with me and get this type of information. I went, I gave him my 25,000. He told me a distribution deal, you'll make more money than any artist in the world. And I end up sitting down with him. I didn't get it at first. He said, but you're gonna have to have $200,000 of marketing money. And I didn't understand. I'm like, man, I just gave this man $25,000, and that was in the '90s. And now I'm gonna need 200,000 more to go get this deal. And I started selling the CDs and cassettes out of the trunk of my car, raised the money, and the rest was history. That was the
Listen,
best.
listen. I remember when you came to
Yeah,
Stockton. I had the
yeah,
Percy Miller tapes. I'm telling you, this is why when I've been watching you, because I've been a fan. I've been a fan. I'm not the biggest fan of hip hop. I don't know everything. I know Mia X. I know the music, but
yeah,
I've been a fan of watching you in that hustle and the fact that although your clothes have changed, you got the
yeah,
gold sinks and you got the
yeah,
hundreds of millions of dollars. Your hustle has never stopped and your diversification on your business hasn't changed.
yeah,
And so when I look at you, I'm like, man, you're literally the example to everybody who wanted the hookup that you can literally do it if you do the hard work, but also the investment in learning the game because
yeah,
there are people out there that got it for sale, but sometimes we just want it the fast where we want to make it
yeah.
look like we got it when we really don't want to put in the work or invest in ourselves.
Yeah, nah, man. I put my trust and faith in God, and I constantly grow. Like I tell people all the time, if people around you are not helping you grow for the better, get rid of them. I had to cut people off. I had to evolve into the man I am today, and I'm thankful. I look at my past and say this was a part of building my character, and I don't mind growing, bettering myself, uh, doing the right thing. It's so easy to do the wrong thing, but when you get caught up, I mean, trouble is easy to get into, but hard to get out of. And I realized, what about just doing it the right way, doing it the legit way? You don't have to look over your shoulder. All these brands and products that I have, I don't have to deal with the negativity. Even like I said, product don't talk back, man. I don't have to worry about, product getting mad at me or what I didn't do for them. And I just think that we have to get into that personal space in our life and say, when you look in the Bible, say, nobody owe you nothing but love. And if somebody love you, then that's enough. Also, Matthew 7 says, judge no man or you be judged. And that's what gets me through. I don't judge nobody. I just try to do the best that I can. I'm not a perfect person. I don't live a perfect life, and I constantly keep educating myself and learning. And I want to help my culture. I want to help the next generation. And so my thing is about leaving an imprint on this world, not just being somebody that was here, but somebody that grew and made a difference. So I mean, that's what my life is about. Just keep getting better and keep trying to figure it out. How can we help our people? And how can we feed our families? How can we build generational wealth where we don't have to ask them for nothing?
Recently I heard Diddy come forward and talked about white corporations and white America not really supporting and funding or fueling, black media companies or black companies. And so I've been trying to get in touch with him to talk to him, and finally I just went and got his phone number and started messaging him directly. Haven't really heard back from him.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many people are popularizing this whole invest in black movement for social media, but then when it comes time to get to the table, you can't find them?
Yeah, well, I think that we gotta start looking for action, and we did that. We marched in the streets, and even with the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, but we didn't realize the most important thing is economic empowerment. That's what we need to be asking for. We should be holding these companies accountable for saying, okay, not only say what you're going to do, but help us actually put African American product on these shelves. When you look at Aunt Mom and Uncle Ben, those products was mockery of us, and we thinking that we buying into this stuff, but we spend a lot of money with these companies, and we don't realize that African Americans spend trillions of dollars a year, but all we are is consumers. We have to change that narrative, and we have to hold these other big companies accountable because we are empowering them because we're investing our money into their companies. And I think that we're kind of like cracking these walls down now. What we was able to do with the rap snacks with me and James Lindsay. I mean, it's a guy that thinks outside the box and see the bigger picture. But I just think that we got to go in there asking for the right thing and making sure that we hold these companies accountable because we're going to these stores, we are keeping these companies in business, but we are not demanding that the real diversity. Every time something happens, they say, "Oh, this is what they're gonna do for us." Then they go back to the same thing, and it's not all the companies because they do have some good ones that are saying, "You know what? Let's do the right thing," and those are the ones I'm looking for to deal with my business, and the ones that are not talking it that are actually doing the right thing. So we just got to keep knocking them walls down. But and I think it's going to be more than us just making noise about it. Having our business together, having business plans, showing these people how we can make money together. And I think that's the next step.
You talked about, whether it's a union or whatever. How do we build a coalition? Let's call it a coalition. How do we build a coalition of, people like me that has our fingers on the pulse of pop culture and social media and the people, and giants like you and Puffy and those who have been examples of black ownership are at the tables that have big voices. How do we all get together and figure out a solution where we all get a piece of the pie? Because the thing I just said earlier this week on the Breakfast Club was,
Yeah.
all the people that are dressing cool at Apple and Beats by Dre and all that, I call them house niggas. Y'all don't own any equity over there, but you out running around bringing the culture back to the white man when we should be figuring out how to build it for ourselves. How do we get together and create a conversation that is just cannot be penetrated by the outside noise?
Well, we got to build relationships with the ones that want to make a difference, the ones that thinking like we thinking and saying, let's get together and do something about us helping us. And I'm open to that. I've been open to that for a long time. And I just want to be around good people that has integrity. I don't want to deal with no BS. So, I keep my circle small. But when you look at what our people was able to do back in the days and see what we are getting at now, and the people that lost their lives so we can do this, that we could be here in the 21st century. I mean, I want to connect to with the right people, and it's going to take people like us and doing what we're doing now, talking about it, communicating about it, and then actually having a plan of action. So I'm in, man. I mean, you watch all these companies making all this money off of us. When you look at the clubhouses and all these other companies, the money they was able to raise, those guys raised $12 million before their company even got started. We could never do that. Think about it,
Never.
because
Never.
we don't have the relationships and resources, and we don't stick together. I tell all the athletes and all the basketball and football players I know, I say, you know what? You guys relying on financial advisors. You got to start writing your own checks because those guys are investing your money into what they want to invest into, penny stocks. And guess what? You're not building relationships with the bank. So credit is the most important thing that we could have, but it's all about understanding the banking system in a business and having people that can connect you to that. So I just think once we start showing these tips and getting together with each other, We don't really need no money. The money is out there. I mean, I was gonna buy Reebok off of the debt and to be able to show my people that that's what I want to teach, us. And I think, but we got to be willing to learn and listen and sit down because, once we get a little money, we think we know everything.
hmm It's interesting. You see that light flex, I said he was thinking of buying Reebok. Now I want to get to your level when I can say I'm thinking of buying Nike, but
Yeah.
I got other things to do. No, but I think what you just said is important. The other thing I want to go back, you talked about Romeo. I've met him several times and I know him. You've been able to raise such a well-mannered, smart, I know he's educated, but also very humble guy who I also am on the same network with at Fox Soul. How hard is it raising a kid when you were raised with not much but love, and then you got everything, but now you still have to raise a kid and keep him normal?
Yeah. Well, I think it's about teaching hard work and also being humble and having integrity. So my thing is I've always taught Romeo hard work. Like, let's go out there and get it. Let's not worry about what we have because we come from New Orleans, which, hurricanes come all the time. We just had Hurricane Ida come back and just wash everything away. We have to start over. And I always raise Romeo saying that when you stay humble and you do what's right, God gonna continue blessing you. And that's what's been happening with us to where he could run the business. He's doing what he need to do. And we still working as a family. And I've never been his friend. I've always been his father. And I tell people that that's how you got to do. Just because somebody has talent, my other boys, they could be top NBA players. I'm not gonna be their friend. I'm gonna be their dad. And I think that's what we got to do as parents and also spend time with our kids. I spent a lot of time with Romeo. A lot of these Hollywood kids are being raised by their nannies, and they don't even know the mothers or the fathers. So I think time is the most important thing. And if you educate your kid, it's gonna go a long way in life. Instead of just giving them money, I just didn't give my kids cars and all this other stuff. I got kids right now that just went to college that finally got their car that they in college, and then a lot of these kids, I tell them, I say, you know what? If you work hard and you do the right thing, you don't have to depend on me. You'll be able to buy your own stuff. And even though you can get whatever you want, I'm here. I'm gonna get you whatever you need. But if I take you out, like I took my kids out with me everywhere I go, every philanthropy thing I do, everything I do back in my community, I take my kids to be a part of that, saying you got to work. And Romeo been doing that all his life. Like you got to be a part of this because you got to have a good heart. A lot of people have money, but and they say money changes. No, that just brings out who they really was. And
hmm
if you a great person without a lot of this stuff, when you get it, you'll be able to understand that this is just material stuff. You can't take it. Which I tell my kids all the time. Uh, Ain't no hearse and no U-Haul gonna follow behind a funeral. So you definitely have to realize that this is temporary success, and that's what gets us over it.
Mm. No, that's real, and I really love that and respect that. If you teach them how to, fish mentality, don't give me the fish. And the thing I love about it is every time that I've seen Romeo too, he knows what I do for a living. I started Hollywood and like the only lane open for me was finding the tea. And Romeo's always been cool, but he like I don't want no parts of no
Yeah,
drama. I don't want,
yeah,
like I'm
yeah,
gonna stay away from it. But I really respect how, in a generation where I think a lot of these younger people are trying to get on by getting clout doing dumb shit, he's just been consistent with the work,
yeah.
even
And
with
I
his
think that
relationships.
when you look at it in the end, hard work gonna outpay everything else, man, and doing the right thing. And that's what I love about my son. Like, he's not perfect, but we drama free from all this stuff. Like we don't need to get it the easy way or the drama way. Or let's go make up this story. Nah, man, let's work for it. Let's build a business. Let's build a brand, and then we'll be able to feed a lot of people. And you'll be able to hold on to it. So that's our model. And I think that when you have integrity and you work hard for something, you're gonna be able to hold on to it. I call it sustainability. We've been able to be successful for over 25 years because just doing the right thing. And no matter what, I think when you do the right thing, it'll outshadow no matter whatever the drama, the dirt, or whatever somebody trying to do. I mean, they did it to Jesus Christ. I tell my son all the time, I say, you know what? We are not eliminated from having to deal with pain. We It's just not gonna happen. I mean, they put Jesus Christ on the cross. This man was really the Son of God. So you imagine that we trying to do the right thing, what they want to do to us. And so you just have to keep humble, keep doing the right thing, and knowing that the blessing is bigger when you do the right thing. And don't be afraid to do what's right. Because I think a lot of people get caught up into, oh, I'm gonna do this because this gonna get me some likes. I don't care nothing about likes, or this gonna get people to want to follow me. I'm like, you know what? If you do the right thing, in the end, you'll be around a long time, and people gonna respect you. That's the most important thing.
hmm I said a couple weeks ago, I got into it with somebody and I said, you know what? We were debating about somebody saying something about me online. I said, listen, you see what they did to Jesus Christ. And they made a mockery of that. But when you really think about it, this is like the person that died for everybody's
Yeah,
sins. And the
yeah,
way they did him,
yeah.
why do you think they would do you any differently?
Nah,
You
and
know?
especially if you're doing something right, you are gonna get prosecuted no matter what. Let's be honest. Just like we saying, if you're trying to do something positive, imagine if I was doing something negative. I'd be on every TV show
Every day,
in the
every
world.
day,
But now
every
Master
day.
P cleaned his life up and he's doing this with his kids. He creating business. He helping the community cause that ain't a sexy story for Hollywood. Think about it. But if
Well, no, 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 no. Let me correct you. It's not a sexy story if you're black in Hollywood,
yeah,
because if it's Ryan Seacrest, if it's
yeah,
Andy Cohen, if it's any of those people, they'll be on the headlines every day. And that's the part that I don't get with black celebrities, that don't understand that never turn your back on the people who are going to talk about you every day, because we need the content. They're going to
yeah.
talk about you here and there, but we need to hold each
Well,
other down. And I
let
don't
me
know why
tell you
people don't.
something though. It's a lot of self hate because I realized this, right? So, say for instance, I got all this product. So, if I put out noodles, they're going to tell me, well, P, you killing our people because you got sodium in your noodles. But then you're going to go and buy $10 billion worth of noodles from them. And if I made a cookie, they would say, well, P, how you gonna put this too much sugar in your cookies? But they're gonna spend $10 billion with Oreo. And I'm saying the more we make, the more we give. You're not even allowing us to get no product that you're buying on the shelves. Then we could come back and say, and trust the process. We could make healthier items, but our people are not buying healthier items. They say that anytime they get online. So now I have water. My water right here is healthy. Let's see how much water we could sell. It's no sugar, no nothing. It's just water. I get it from the same place they get their water made at, and it's cheaper. I get uh 3 cases of 24 for $10. You can't beat that. I'm in every supermarket, wherever you want to go at. So why wouldn't you buy LA Great Water knowing we put money back into the community and the culture? And we on the front line. But the difference is they're gonna come up with an excuse. Well, I've been drinking Arrowhead, so why should I drink that? So that's what I'm saying. The self-hate, we gotta break that cycle. And it's a mindset. Our people thinking negative because we're not used to seeing people look like us saying, let's create essential goods. So I'm coming up with all kind of goods. So you're not just gonna see this. You're gonna see product in stores with me. I don't care if it's ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, whatever. You want to see condoms. You want to see
Well,
whatever. We
now
create all these
listen,
different
listen.
things.
Don't do the condoms, because we got condoms coming out. But look,
So
let me tell you,
I got
what you
something
need.
for you. So it's enough room for all of us. To be honest.
No, no, for sure. No, what you need to do is drop another video called the cookout. Then that's where you drop your mustard and your ketchup. You know what I mean? Product placement. No, but I think that's an interesting point, because I really feel like, and
It's
I
a
said
self
this
hate.
on.
They don't want to see you get to where you need to go at. Think about it now. Like you say, if you was a white man doing this, they'll love you. It's also like in sports. If you see a black man come in there with a sweatsuit on, that probably be the best agent in the world. A black guy wouldn't talk to him. They'll go talk to the worst guy with a suit on that's white, and they're gonna give him the business. We do it every year in the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball. We have guys that can do that. And so think about this, right? We giving them the money because if that kid make $200 million and you give 5 or 10% of that money to an agent that you don't, a financial advisor or agent that you don't know, you'll create more power for them. And now you don't see people look like us that you're going to give that type of money, 10, $20 million to somebody you just met in 6 months, because we don't trust each other. We don't believe that we're capable of doing that type of business. And that's the mindset that has to change if we're gonna get
But
past
but
this
but but
poverty
but
state.
but how do we change it? Because let me tell you, I was just on Clubhouse the other day, and I was calling out some Sony executives who are black. They are up there in the rooms with the white folks. They have influence over the budgets, yet they're not spending any money with Hollywood Unlocked. And I had gotten to a point where meeting, pitch. We have national radio, we have
Well,
podcasts, we have
you
TV.
got to realize this. Some of the black ones just as worse as the white ones. They got a job. They just want to keep their job. So now we got to go beyond them. You got to go to the shareholders, and that's what I want to teach my culture. I'm gonna give you this game. Let's go to the shareholders of these companies. We don't need to sit back and wait and talk to these executives. Look up who the shareholders are, and let's go to them.
That's what I'm talking about. And that is what I was looking for, the action. Like, how do we penetrate this wall that people have put up?
So
And I've
look, think
said,
about this,
wait,
right?
let me say it. Let me say this. I
Yeah,
also said on Clubhouse,
yeah.
unfortunately, the biggest barriers to my success have either been white publicists who control these black artists or black executives who don't want to introduce another pathway to the white folks. So
All
either
right.
way, it's been my people in the way too.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Well, like I said, let's go to the shareholders and let us teach these guys that you got to stop doing traditional business. You got to think outside the box if you want to make more money. You're going to have to deal with people like us, and that we are creating content, we are growing, and people are looking for our content, just like what you're doing right now. Like your brand could be just as big as Clubhouse if the right investment is put into it. The products that I'm making could be just as big as every other product out there if it's able to get into the right stores, the right supermarkets. We need distribution. That's what we need. And if we go to these shareholders, and that's my thing, let's stop talking to the wrong people. We're going to shareholders after this and sit down. I don't care whether you want to team up and go do this. Like, we can get more stuff done dealing with shareholders because they understand. They just want to grow their business. A lot of these other people take it personal. Now they got this big job. Now they feel like they're a boss. All they want to do is use these company credit cards up. They're not building business. We're going to show these shareholders how to create more business, and they're going to want to talk to us.
Yes. No, I listen, we're going to definitely connect after the show. I want to pivot and ask you a question. So recently on Hollywood Unlocked, we had posted that back and forth around your brother C Murder and Kim Kardashian wanting to help him get out of prison. Without all the details, people know what I'm talking about. What
Yeah,
I saw was, you own your relationship with your brother. That is
yeah,
your family. It's not
yeah,
anybody else's opinion of
yeah,
that. Nobody else has any right to talk about your relationship with your family. When I saw that Kim was helping, I had reached out to Kim to help me get somebody out of prison, and ultimately she said she wanted to help, but she didn't. I ended up doing it myself. Was your frustration that the conversation about getting him out was now magnified because of Kim Kardashian was involved, and not necessarily the fact that we've all been trying to get our own people out of prison for
yeah. You know
years
what? To
and
be
nobody's
honest
been
with
talking
you,
about it?
I think it starts with us and our family. I love my brother. I do anything for him, and we're gonna be family. We're gonna do this till the wheels fall off. I think my frustration came from that people don't understand how serious this case is, and they think just because a celebrity is coming involved, like with Kim Kardashian, she had stuff connections through the president, and that's on the federal side. My brother case is a state case. Louisiana is a very different place. And this is a state case. And I know Boosie went out there talking on social media, which I love it. I love Kim saying whatever she's tweeted out. But if you're not going to be about it and actually go down there and help this man and be a part of this, because the federal system cannot help my brother. Um, it got to be a state. You got to build relationships with the governor and the judges in New Orleans, in Louisiana, and that's the only way that's gonna help them. So that noise ain't did nothing but made those people on the other side like, you know what, we really not messing with this. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Even though my brother, he just want to get out, and I feel him, but at the same time, man, ain't nothing like your family. And even after that, I don't know if anybody else did anything else. And so it's like, but you got to, that's why I say education is so important. This is a state case. A state case. I don't care if you get on social media and say all this stuff and do this. These people in Louisiana is built different. I was trying to build relationships in the background, like to build relationships with governors and judges. And it just messed everything up because now a lot of people are not going to put their neck on the line for somebody that now it's a Hollywood thing. People are
Well,
having,
you're being polite. Louisiana government is racist. They're
yeah,
racist. I was in the airport in New Orleans
yeah,
coming home. I love New Orleans. I love the people in New Orleans. I got stopped in the airport by the police, by the sheriffs of Jefferson County or something
yeah,
like that,
Jefferson Parish,
where Jefferson Parish. Let me tell you something. They accused me of smuggling cocaine,
yeah,
and then they wanted to search me, so I put it on Instagram and it went viral. But then when I put it on Instagram, I got a lot of people from Jefferson Parish who reached out to me, sending me videos of how they police out there. And so I learned from that experience and me getting somebody out of Kansas City that all that rah 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 on social media
yeah,
make these local white
yeah.
folks just
That's just
double down.
yeah, and that just made it for me, man, because I was really building relationships behind the scene to help my brother get out, and then this stuff brought so much crazy attention that a lot of people, I mean, judges got jobs off of this case. So it kind of like draws back down. And I know my brother, like, he in a rush. He in a rush to get out, and I get it. But I want people to know, you know, that if we're gonna save this next generation, we got to be truthful. So it kind of like it brought us back two notches down because nobody else is really doing that. So, I love my brother that much, man, that even when he mad at me, I'm mad at him. We're going to get together and fight somebody else together. That's just how it goes because we're going to be family
Yeah.
forever. But I think when the education part, when people really not looking at what this case entitled, they think somebody not doing something or they don't see something. They don't realize you got to build these relationships, besides what you see in the media and go down. We had a guy that was an NAACP guy that was going to the jailhouse working for my brother, and these people just stopped everything, and I don't know what they doing. So it's like that's the part, but I'm not gonna stop. I mean, we're gonna keep moving as a family, but that did set us back a couple of years because this is a serious case.
Yeah, there's a book I was put on a long time ago called When Helping Hurts. Like people have good intentions to help, but then they end up doing more damage. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people need to read that book. So how is he doing now? Is his mind, is he still, hopeful and focused on,
Yeah, nah, I
the
mean,
process?
to be honest with you, my brother's a strong dude, man. So he gonna be all right. I'm just hoping that he could get home to his family soon, and then we could do whatever we got to do as a family, man. Because even when somebody's in trouble or hurt, your family is the only thing that's gonna be there for you in the end. And I know a lot of these people be saying stuff, man, and going on all these sites, but they not really doing nothing. It's a lot of people just talking and barking, and it's like, okay, what are you sending this man? What are you giving this man? Like, stop it. Let's just let this man go through this situation and let God get him out of this and pray for him. Send him your prayer. Like, just stop all this negative talking. And we're gonna do what we gotta do as a family, even when nobody's looking or nobody's seeing. We're gonna do our part. And I think that's the most important thing. And it's a process. It's not an easy process, like you say. This is a Louisiana case. It's a high profile case where they don't want it. They don't want this man out of this situation, and so we got to really play chess. And I just think we've been playing checkers because of everybody, wanting attention or being angry or trying to, you know, make us go against each other, which that'll never happen. You know what I'm saying? That'll never happen.
Well,
It's
that's good to
family
hear
over
because
everything over here.
That's good to hear because I know you've held him down for years, and I know he loves you, and I know he's such an iconic figure in hip hop too. And I was thinking back to BET when they honored Bad Boy and Diddy and all them with the whole Bad Boy perform. When are we gonna see that with you need to be honored like that because you've had so many artists under your label that have had hits and that have had massive impact.
Yeah.
Do you see that happening and don't you think it's overdue already?
Well, I don't care for all that stuff. I just do the right thing, and all my blessings come from the man up above. But we definitely gonna do a No Limit reunion tour. We're gonna start on October 9th, and we're gonna be able to bring everybody out. And I want to celebrate all the artists. So everybody around the world that want to see that '90s, go back to the '90s, 2000. Just have that celebration, man. Life too short. We don't know, you know when we never gonna see somebody again. So this tour is so important to me to be able to be on the road with Mia X, Silk the Shocker, Mystical, Fiend. I'm hoping that Mac could come on some show dates, but his case is serious. Like he got a serious lockdown, uh, Mercedes, Snoop Dogg coming on some of the shows. So, and also bringing a lot of guests and family out there and just celebrate, man. And hopefully we able to just have a good time with our fans, because I want to tell people, even I sold 100 million records, it's not about me. It's about the fans, and I love my fans for that. So we will see them on this No Limit reunion tour real soon.
Listen, you know who I just saw a couple months ago at dinner here in Beverly Hills? Sibo.
Yeah,
I remember like
yeah,
those days with RBL Posse, the
yeah,
Looney, like, hip hop is just, it's evolved so much that when I look at artists today, I'm like, man, y'all really need to do your history, because if you really understand like the trajectory of where music has gone and the business, you'll be so much further ahead. Let me ask you really quick what your thoughts are on the baby. They were trying to cancel him for what he said at Rolling Loud. I'm gay. I understand the frustration, but I also understand coming from the hood and not necessarily being educated and not now given a chance to become educated. I wasn't a fan of the whole cancel him conversation. What did you think about all that?
yeah. Well, I think now we live in a world where everybody has an opinion about you. So I just think we just got to keep praying, and I know that the baby will get over this. And I just love what I was able to learn from the Bay and the people I was able to connect in the music industry. And I think now as artists, we got to hold ourselves accountable, how far we want to get in life, how big we want to be. We got to watch what we say, we got to watch what we do. But I remember being in the Bay, and I want to talk about EA Ski. EA Ski is probably one of the most talented producers that I ever met in my life. And I grew up working with him. And that's something I wish that I could have made more records with him. This guy was Dr. Dre before he was before Dr. Dre. And I used to go to his house in Oakland. And this guy just was so talented, man. I appreciate him. I love him. I respect him. And I know that hopefully before it's over, we're gonna get to do something. I want to be able to do something with him, man. That dude, we was there for each other. We was like brothers, but my life had just moved. I moved back home to New Orleans. But if I could go back and redo anything, I'm like, if I could have made more songs and more music with EA Ski, I know that we could have even took the Bay even farther and even bigger. So I love the Bay, man. That's why I got my character for his music, my hustle for his music. And this was a guy that talented, man. Like we could make anything. Like we'll just sit in the house and just make music. So I'm hoping to go back to do something with him, that we could do something big that'll change the Bay.
Yeah, when you came to the Bay, your hustle was crazy, and I
Yeah,
remember I
yeah,
remember you in the hood selling
yeah,
your tape, and I remember it. And so I think what I hope people could take away from this conversation, and hopefully what we can connect on outside this conversation, is you really are the example of Black excellence that everybody talks about as an idea, and you really are somebody who hustled it out the literal mud
yeah,
and put a lot of other people of color on. And I remember back in the day when what's his name? I almost said Spice One. I'm still stuck in the Bay. When what's his name? Spike Lee had
yeah,
attacked Tyler Perry
yeah,
because he was saying the films that Tyler was doing weren't real legitimate, like
yeah,
Black film. And I'm like, listen, whether you have Black Panther or Malcolm X or Medea or I Got the Hookup,
yeah.
it's all about what we can do as Black people to move our people forward and provide opportunities for people and have ownership and independence. And I think that to watch your hustle,
Yeah.
I've sat back and watched you just go all anywhere you want to go and create it all off your own work. And so I've been a fan, and I'm honored to talk to you about it.
Yeah, nah, thank you. And this new movie I got, Unknown, is so important because this is out of the box for me. This is a movie. Uh, it's kind of like a horror, but it's also like a love story. It's a suspense, and they know that we could do comedy. They know that we could do drama. But this movie takes us to another place, and it'll be on Amazon. It'll be everywhere October 1st. And just to being able to executive produce this film, Unknown, with my son Romeo, it's just a blessing. So we got to start thinking outside the box. We got to keep growing, and I think that's what my life is going at. And we got to keep connecting, like we're doing right now, being able to connect the dots with each other to even make bigger projects. And it all start with these little small projects and keep doing them, and then connecting and getting to the system, because The system is the marketing budgets. That's what holds us back. Like these guys are able to get big marketing budgets to put these products and put these projects in your face to where you can buy it. So that's the next level. That's what we own now. Being able to put people of color, not just starring and acting in these films, but owning them and being able to produce them and control these projects.
And stop waiting for somebody to hand it to you, because nobody handed it to Master P and nobody
Yeah,
handed it to me.
yeah, they
Listen,
ain't gonna give you nothing, man. Think about it. Nobody's gonna give you nothing. If you truly believe in your dream, get out there and go chase it. Create an opportunity. Don't sit around and wait for it.
listen, and you speaking of marketing budgets, all these Amazon Prime and chips and water. Look, I love water, I love chips, I love marketing budgets. Master P, I'm
Yeah.
always available to you. I'm gonna make sure you get my phone number. It's
Okay.
been I've interviewed a lot of people, but this was an honor, and you come back anytime.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I appreciate you. Y'all make sure you go get all the products and check out Unknown October 1st on Amazon Prime. Master P, thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Salute.
All right, look, that was a great show. And make sure you keep coming back, because we got all types of amazing interviews and topics that are going to make you go crazy.
That's right. That means like, subscribe, do everything you need to do to make sure you stay up to date with what we got going on.
And ladies, stay tuned in because you know I have your back.
And listen, make sure that you're commenting below, because even though I say I don't read it on the show, that's all I do when it's over. Peace.